Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with three S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, with my darling co-host, Jojo. How are you doing today, Jojo?
I am so good. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
We're just serving it to one another right now.
Served.
StreamYard style.
Yes. So if this is your first time on Reality Realness, well, then welcome. We're so happy to have you. We are on our journey to 1,000 subscribers. So help us out by pressing that subscribe button. Here, it's over there. Yeah, subscribe button over there. And, just push it so you can help
just
1,000 subscribers. Just do it.
Just do it.
And ring the bell so you know
Just Nike it.
Exactly. Just Nike, do it. So we're doing Sequester today, episode 2. It seems like a lot has gone on for just 2 episodes. I was thinking like, oh, we're almost been episode 4, but like, no, it's actually only been 2 episodes, but there's been a lot going on. So this episode was called Dead to Me. Why do you think it was called that?
It was an hour and 7 minutes, and I would have loved another hour and 30 minutes for a second episode. But I took no notes. I was enthralled the entire time. And it being Friday today and watching it from Sunday, I'm still surprised by how much I've retained since then.
We will see.
we will see. That's fair. I think it was called Dead to Me. Poetic Justice was episode 1, right?
Correct.
Dead to Me. I mean, I think there was some clear like cuts this episode, especially near the end, in my opinion, with what happened with the vote and who was exposed. I think one player might be dead to another, but I don't know. I think initially when I first saw it, I thought like, oh, Brent's dead to Katie, but that kind of was switched up in the first 10 minutes of the episode. So then I wasn't sure what that was alluded to. Hi, Dana.
How are you? Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you haven't watched too much Sequester content so far, and you'll still be wanting to contribute to what we're talking about today, you know?
Please.
So, like, right off the top, we see kind of some clips of Shirin being wary of Katie. This was kind of like the trailer, kind of like just reminding us what happened last week. Yes. Oh, we got Joseph in the house. LOL.
Joseph.
Episode Dead to Me was hilarious. Well, where did they get it?
Oh, no.
Was there a specific spot?
There had to have been. I should have taken the only note I took was this.
What?
Katie sweatshirt.
Oh.
If any like printing shops were open right now, I would have ran to one.
Do you know what? I definitely remember just looking at different letters and not piecing it together. And I think that they were talking about it when I was talking about it with Tara, and I just was like, I knew what you meant.
Just
Rachel pissed at Brent because he stole Katie from her. Oh,
I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, Joseph, you are always on top of things. Thank you for being supportive here.
Yes.
So Dana says this is the only live about this question I watch. Oh, amazing.
Good job, Dana.
Dana.
There's some good ones out there.
Appreciate. So I've actually really wanted Shireen, and Katie to work together. And I'm like, it's just, I mean, it's going in a way that I'm finding very entertaining, absolutely. But like, I just want the women that I want to work together, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I both always hope for strong female alliances. And I do think that there could be, or that there are this season of Sequester. I just don't think Katie and Shireen clicked. And that's okay. You don't have to click with everyone. You're allowed to have like not the greatest relationship with someone, because that might make it easier to target them. And that's kind of what happened, or what can happen. I think Brent was really smart by letting both parties know that the other might not have been a fan of theirs, more so letting Katie know. But that was another moment of the episode that was great. The slamming of the doors, the needing privacy in the dining room. You're not going to get a lot of privacy in this place. And he obviously wanted a one-on-one and kind of slid into that conversation that Rachel and Katie were having.
Learned now is that there was like not very much time, like, and they had all been asleep, and when they're asleep, like the sleeping times, there's not allowed any strategy or any talk because there's not going to be any camera people to record it, and so it seems as though they're cut off, and like in the morning, and they're about to either start the game or so he just wanted to get to Katie before anything happened, just in case she was the killer, didn't want her to obviously to try and kill him.
Finding Katie Hopkins. I also love that he calls her by her full name. Like, that's respect.
Yes, it is. Well, first and last name, like Jeff Probst would do for you if you were like superstar on Survivor.
Or any man playing Survivor. They get a full name.
Playing Survivor. / I don't know Wendell's last name.
Oh, what is Wendell's last name? I don't know.
Joseph? Just kidding.
Help.
So before any of that, door slamming stuff happened, we kind of get back to Josh just being eliminated, and things have changed up a little bit. Now, instead of having these hidden LOSs in the house, I mean, I don't know if that might resurface or not, but there is Luxury Row, where the winner of the I just want to call it battle match goes into this room, and they have to choose between 3 boxes, 2 holding something good and 1 being an empty box. Right. What do you think about Luxury Row?
I think it's a great idea. I think Josh had one of the best quotes of the episode after his time spent in Luxury Row. I think he mentioned something about the players not being able to pick him off. They'll have to beat him off, and no one is up for beating him off. That would have been a great episode 2 title too, just like beat him off. It's like, whoa, what am I watching right now? What's creeping into my YouTube guideline?
Yeah, ooh, beating him off, ooh.
Ooh.
Gross. So I'm really upset though. Like, all the people who are in the hot seat are on my team right now. And I'm just like, stop it. Like, even with the soundbite beforehand with Muna talking about Jay Westchurch saying humble pie. And I'm like, why couldn't he have eaten a slice of humble pie and not want to go up against Josh? So like both my people wouldn't be, well, no matter what, Katie would have been up. So I would have lost someone from my team no matter what.
Yeah.
But at least, I don't know, he would have learned something from his last round. I really like Luxury Row. Taryn and I are getting a lot of flack for the fact that we don't know the song that he used to pick it out. I don't even know what it's called anymore.
I think it was like bubblegum in a dish. How many pieces do you wish? But when he was doing, I think when Josh was doing it, he was using like, it wasn't each word was a box. It was like, I remember there was like a piece. I don't remember. I don't know what I'm saying.
In a dish, like every like beat or every syllable, maybe.
I think he was doing every syllable instead. I'm an every word kind of guy.
But you know that rhyme?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've never heard it before.
And then I think I don't know how many bubblegum he threw in. He was like 1, 2, 3.
I'm assuming 3. But yes, Jana's like, it was
bubblegum.
I've never heard of this before. What is going on? Am I just too adult?
I mean, I think it's a children's rhyme, if you ask me, but I'd use bubblegum.
I know Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. Do you know that one?
Yeah, catch some tigers by their toes. If they holla,
let them go.
Let them go.
Mo means no, so out you go.
I feel like I would switch from like holla and then go into some Missy Elliott and then finish it with some Missy. Yeah.
Don't copy me.
Yes.
We're gonna copyright strike.
Close it out.
So Josh does his bubblegum game and he lands on an LOS. What do you think could be another thing that he lands on? Because I don't feel like both of the boxes that had a positive prize in there both had LOSs. So what do you think maybe the other could be?
I thought it was 2 LOSs and 1 nothing.
Oh, I just thought it was 2 prizes.
But maybe whoever won the battle match this round might have something else in there. But I mean, LOSs are really the only introduced line of safety so far.
Fair. So Joseph says, I've got to love Joss with that bubblegum song. When we found out 2 boxes have power. So he says power. And one doesn't. Now Josh is in a comfortable spot with that LOS because I'm sure that he will be a target for an easy vote. Absolutely. And I think that's also really good that he didn't tell anybody that there was that option with him coming back. And so we talked about this also with Taryn and Matt about the fact that it would be really good to be able to start maybe building the outsider alliance with those that return from the battle match.
Yes.
That information and that shared secret. So I'm hoping that he's going to be able to get himself out of this kind of spot with the more people that go to and return from the battle match. So I'm hoping.
I fully expect like a beeline to the person who came back.
So Frank says, wasn't it 2 boxes have an advantage? Exactly. I didn't say it would say LOS in my opinion if it was 2 LOSs.
I thought it did say LOS. I thought it was said. No?
Definitely did not say LOS.
Oh shit. Okay.
Definitely did not say LOS. Yeah, it said either advantage or power or something like that, but it wasn't LOS, and so that's why when it wasn't LOS, I'm like, oh, good, he got an LOS. I wonder what the other one was.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, Joseph is
thinking
advantages. Boom. Maybe both advantages are LOSs, but maybe they want the option to put something else in.
Yeah.
Maybe this is conspiracy theory, but maybe they could change it depending on who is going in there. You know, something that might be more interesting depending on the person. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. There's some opportunity there.
You know, just
some growth.
A little interesting.
Yeah.
They can choose what they want to put in that box. All right. So Josh plays and he wins an LOS. Not planning on telling money. I'm loving that. Katie prefers that Josh comes back, and I do too. Just especially with like kind of how things went down with Jay West in the end. There, it's kind of like it's best that Jay West just doesn't come back because. For her, anyways, because he was kind of calling her out behind the scenes, but then willing to call out Josh. He was being quite messy quite early on. It was like hour 10, and like maybe he's like just already starting to, flail.
Yeah, he might have needed some sugar, or like he might have been hungry. We don't know. I think it's probably best for a couple players' games for Josh to be the person returning.
Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't flipping so much the first episode either.
So what do you think about Brent now being kind of tied to him with the fact that he was the person that voted with Josh for Katie?
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Brent doesn't know, obviously, that Josh has an LOS, but that can be helpful. Josh can make a play knowing that, or knowing that he has Brent as an ally. I think Brent, though, like Brent's really smart. He's going to figure out each round to the best of his ability.
Mm-hmm.
Like shit's gonna switch up. People are gonna get nervous. Yes. People are gonna play paranoid.
Yeah,
especially with this chat, like with this round, especially. I think there could have been a lot more. Instead of it becoming some sort of LOS hunt, it could have been a real fuckery of a round.
Sorry, can you explain what you mean by real fuckery of a round?
I mean, I think there was opportunity for people to, I don't know, like not play it so safe. I felt like it was a really safely played round.
So okay, like explain what the round is. So Josh reads new instructions, and a killer is on the loose. So they're playing killer and detective. Now you played a few mini games this summer. Did you ever get to play killer and detective?
Never, no.
Have you watched it?
I don't think so. No.
I feel like I've seen it or seen a version of it or something like that. Yeah, I've seen it. I have seen it. Joseph, do you remember any of the minis that Joseph
was Joseph?
That have used? I feel like I've seen one, and I feel like it was with like, I don't know, maybe it was Canada versus US or something, or like Survivor.
It might have, yeah. It was. I think it was the first Survivor. Now that I think about it, yes, it has been played. I think it's. I don't know.
So
I don't know if you should play online or
understand the rules, because I understand them and then I forget and then I understand them again. So if you can maybe just lay them out for me again.
So we have the killer who creates a kill list of, I believe, 3 nominees. And there's 3 different rounds. So we also have the detective who has to figure out who the killer is. Now, if these 2 worked together, they could figure out who this person and this person and this person should be, ideally, and then target one of them. I assume that's what was going to happen by the end of this, the 3rd round at least, but it didn't.
So, so if the detective does not, no, you like what you said.
Does that make sense?
The ending part you said. So
yeah.
Forget that. But so the killer makes their kill list, and then the detective has to try to guess and see each round who the killer is.
Right.
So if you guess incorrectly, the first round, the first 2 people on the kill list will be revealed and they will be up for elimination. But it also gives a little bit more information as to maybe who the killer might be, depending on who they are putting up and putting in danger.
Yes.
And so then the second round is they can choose whether or not they can want to change the third person, maybe depending on what people are guessing, or they have the option to be able to change that. Do you think that that's a good option?
Yeah, I think it keeps the kill list fluid. I think. Can we talk about who the killer was yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought Billy was an excellent choice. She really impressed me this episode. I thought she was sharp and strategic, and it all made sense. But as soon as the round had begun, Natalie had gotten to her and said, like, hey, I don't feel like I have anyone. I want to trust you. I want to be with you. I think that was a great opportunity to, I don't know, like solidify something with Natalie. Sure, maybe not everyone has clicked with this girl and she might be on the outs, but why not play with someone like that? They'll have your back. I think that was the only point that I thought, that wasn't Billy's best move. I get what she was doing clearly.
Well, I mean, I think Billy is also good with a lot of people. And like, as you just mentioned a little bit ago, is that needing to have an enemy of some sort, because if you are saying that you are loyal or you're a good person and shaky eyes, and if I'm with you, I'm with you. If she said that to many people that we haven't seen all the agreements that she's made, she kind of needs someone to be able to put up, because everybody else would be mad at her or want to come back for her. So yeah, maybe it sucks that she didn't accept this, or too little too late with Natalie.
I think that's what it was.
She doesn't really have anybody else that she can put up other than these 3 people, really.
Yeah.
Or that would expect or would be hurt if she put them up,
Right. And caught as the killer.
Joseph says Billy was the last person I suspect to be the killer. She played it well, although she switched from Brent to Jacob. That was surprising. I mean, it's really good that she switched from Brent to Jacob, because she wanted Brent up there for people to think it was Katie. When people guessed it was Katie, she's like, okay, well, now like I got to take Brent down, because I need to cause another misdirect here with the list. So
yeah, she
kind of had to do that. I don't know if she had to do Jacob, but I think Jacob made it be like, whoa, like, who is this?
I actually love the reaction of Jacob going up, because you could see quite a few players go, no, we don't want to lose Jacob, no, and they're fighting for him. So that can be really telling and can help solidify some trust in
for
game.
Sure. So James here say, hi, James. Thanks for joining us. I agree. I think Billy could have played this better and made a better power structure for herself. So what do you suggest, James, that Billy could have done? Like, who do you think that she should have maybe put up? And who do you think would have been her best people to maybe gain some alliance traction with and some power?
I think Billy's pretty set personally.
Yeah, I think like in the end, I think that she's going to come out unscathed. I don't think that she's going to tell anybody that she was ever the killer, unless she's
save that for final 2. Yes.
Seats, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or if she's going out, or somebody's trying to claim a move or whatever. So, I think that it's how she ended up playing this round. It did work for her favor, and she just looks like somebody that was with the people, and So this is, does anyone else feel like Billy tells people if Billy tells people she's the killer, it'll put her in a negative light with some people? Absolutely.
Yeah,
she
of course.
Not say a word until she's in the final 2 seats.
I mean, my heart was pounding because a part of me thought Rachel was just going to go, oh, let me just say someone random then, like, I don't know, Billy, and just guesses correctly. And it's like, oh, shit.
Now, okay, so what do you think about how Rachel handled her role as the detective? Because she was only going to tell her alliance, but she didn't tell everybody else in the game. Now, the reason why it's important, like this is an interesting discussion, is because if she doesn't get the killer, then what happens?
She is up for nomination.
But why does the house care?
Why would the house care if she was up for nomination?
Yeah, there was a good reason, and I was like, it just escaped me.
Why would they care that they didn't know who the detective was? Well, they want to help the detective.
Well, like, why do they care to help the detective? Is what I'm saying.
To get the killer up on the block.
And so, and the kill list to stop.
Right, because it could have stopped.
Is on the kill list.
It could have stopped round 1.
Right, and 2 people would not have been on. It would have been the killer and the first 2 kills.
Right,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. It's just have to clarify because
don't apologize.
Those rules. I was like, I forget. Okay. James says, I think she could have should have tried to weaken Jacob's position. I think I would have put up Jacob, Muna, and Katie.
Ooh. I think having Katie up there would not have been the best scenario for Billy to do with those 2, at least, unless she really wanted to target someone.
I think, though, if Jacob, Muna, and Katie were up there, they're so vocal with like getting people to give them information, like what's happened, was it you, da-da-da, like they would just go for it. And I think that both the killer and the
detective
would be exposed, and they would be able to kind of rope the house into getting the killer up there. You know what I mean? I think that they would have, I think they would have probably won that round, got the killer up there, and I think they would have been able to get the killer out. I think
looking back, I think I don't necessarily think Rachel needed to tell everyone that she was a detective right away, but I think opening it up a little bit more than just Shireen and Muna, they do include Billy in their alliance, but Billy wasn't there. She wasn't in the room, and I don't know. I feel like I would have told a couple of people in private in round 1, and then once Brent made a big deal of calling out the person at the beginning of round 2, I think that's when you just open it up and let it rip, because it was going to hurt her in the end, or could have.
I think for me, I would have probably played it like open, so that it looks like I'm not trying to be sneaky with anybody else in the house. Be like, listen, I want to catch the killer. I don't want any of you guys to go on the block. Like, let's work together and try to figure this out.
Yeah.
I think Taryn suggested doing interviews with each person. Like, the detective relied on her alliance to tell her who would be the best person to put, like, to guess to be the killer. I didn't feel as though Rachel did her own due diligence in going around and finding her own information as to who's the killer. I thought she played personally this round very scared, and I didn't feel she used it in a way to gain any information whatsoever.
God, no.
She just kind of went with the good, Shireen had a good idea as to like a reason why it could be somebody. And her first 2 guesses, decent reason, or first guess, decent reason. But I think that she could have gathered and gained more information if she just asked more people or shared the information that she was the killer.
Yeah.
She could have
the detective. Yeah. I think the round kind of ran away from some people, and it did become this LOS searching type of scenario. So I don't think people were necessarily focused on finding the killer or helping the detective.
Mm-hmm.
It all felt very self preserving in a way.
So the killer put up Natalie, Spencer, and Brent. So just so people can know what we're dealing with here. I feel like Natalie was a pretty decent one. I know you're saying that maybe Billy should have tried to make an alliance with her or whatnot, or just like kind of pull her in close.
Yeah.
But she might be able to do that with being like, hey, I'm not going to vote you into the elimination or the battle match or whatever. She could still do that with her being in this vulnerable position.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I would never have done that to you, even though it was me, you know? Spencer, I thought was a little bit more interesting. Did you expect Spencer to be somebody on the killer's list? Like, do you think it was just for chaos, as much chaos as possible?
I think they were like the safest choices for like looking at the players as a whole. I think they were really safe choices, and it didn't tell a lot about who the killer was.
Yeah, and so when they put Brent up, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope it doesn't get to that round. I didn't actually remember that they could change their kill list after the first round, so I was like, phew.
He's safe.
Safe. Well, unless getting pulled into that battle match, but you know. So everybody was hugging Josh at one point, right at the beginning of this round. Marcelo wants to bury things with Josh, and saying that Josh is getting some cool points with him. Do you think Josh got some cool points with you, Jojo?
I actually love Josh, episode 1 and episode 2. So he's cool in my books.
I love Josh as a human being, but I if I were playing with him, I would probably have to corral him in a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I'd be like, just gotta calm down a little bit.
I get that. I think day one, it was clear. Like, he set himself up, in my opinion, to be the first boot, but he showed a lot of fire, a lot of strategy. He was making connections with players. So I don't know. I'm a fan of Josh.
I'm a fan, but I want him to do well, and I think that.
I would have voted him out first, no problem. But I still really like Josh.
He needs to turn it down just a little bit, but he might be able to fade into the background after this round. He might be able to do that. Brent also just needs to turn that dial down a little bit, just so that you'll stay in the game longer.
See, I don't think he does. I think if anything, I think he's allowed to turn it up. I think people expect that from Brent. They expect big moves. They expect in your face attacks and him saving your own butt. I don't know if that made sense. I think he can be a friend and a foe, and
I think though that people may be put off by his direct approach, and not necessarily recognizing that people are finding it a little bit uncomfortable. I think that is going to allow him to be a target in people's eyes and not care if he's around in the game any longer. Case in point would be Rachel when the title of this episode came, "He is dead to me." Yeah. He is dead to me means that there's no real way to work with this person and is willing to vote them out on the drop of a dime. So,
or she'll play with a zombie. I don't know.
No, I'm like,
dead to her.
Yeah, dead to me. It's also the name of a TV show,
Yes, that Netflix series. I think I don't know, but if Brent switched it up right now, like the same thing, people would be like, oh, he's switching it up because he's a smart player and knows that what he was doing might come off a certain way.
I'm just saying that he's not making any friends with people that don't appreciate the same type of game style that he has. And
then so bring him to the final 2 and beat him.
Well, there's no way. I don't know. I don't know if you can get there. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if you can get there because you need to have more people that are not kind of like, okay, I can't work with you, which is like Rachel, because a Rachel type player, at this point, it seems as though she's expendable to many, but she's also, if she gains any power, she also has that power in a vote, and I could see her pushing to have him be the person eliminated. So I'm just saying that I get it. I get his game style, and I know that's what we expect of him. But I think that if he just does a little bit and maybe just be a little bit more concerned with some of the people that may be not as receptive to his gameplay or even know who he is or know that that's what he's like, that it might be beneficial for him moving forward.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in a week.
Dana says, I think Brent trying to get the detective to expose who they are will not help him and put him in danger in the next episode. Exactly. I think that, especially with Rachel, she just seems a little bit I don't want to use the word emotional, but a little bit emotional about how they're interacting. And I can see her not being able to get over it. And I don't know if Brent's tactic on how he may try to smooth things over with Rachel will be something that she resonates with. Like, I just don't think that they can.
They don't have to, but they also don't have to smooth anything over.
But what if she has power and she puts him up?
Then he's going to have to do a lot of ass kissing or get an LOS used on him by Josh. I don't know. There can be a path to the end for anyone.
A gameplay that's not winning. You want him to just not win the game, just be himself and see how far he gets. It seems, because I'm saying that to dial it down and maybe be a little bit more like observant of the other game players and how they are receiving him.
Yep.
Is to improve his winning, the possibility of him winning, as opposed to for him just being in the game and being energetic and enjoyable to watch. So I think we just want different things from his success in the game.
I want him to find his footing, and like if how he's playing the game now is beneficial later on, awesome. If it's not, then clearly dialing it down might have helped. So
the dead to me actual line. So Brent barges in.
I think he slid. It was very risky business. I wish it was backwards and like he was just in his briefs with like a white shirt, glasses. Very risky business.
That would be perfect.
And then pay you.
Just like a sound bite of like na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
How? Yeah.
So he interrupts Katie, who is talking to Rachel at this moment. This was offensive to Rachel, and Rachel says that Brent is dead to her. So what do you think about Brent's marriage of necessity? Okay. And how?
It felt more like maybe they were like signing a prenup because they were both going to be coming out of it not the best. Initially I thought it sounded okay. I was like, okay, yeah, Katie, take that. When he first started with, if you get voted out, like you can drag me if it's my fault, whatever, that will make me want to keep you in this game. But switching it back on him for her to have the same standards didn't make any sense to me.
Well, I mean, I get what he's saying. He should have just left it, in my opinion, to that. And then it would just be an automatic, like, I scratch your back, you scratch my back kind of scenario.
Yeah. It could have evolved into what he's stated initially. But yeah, I think he could have cut it off with, if you're taken out, I know that you're going to drag me to battle. So we don't want that.
Well, and the thing is, too, though, is that she can't even say anything to anybody, because if that's the thing, they'll be like, perfect, let's put Brent up there because we know who he's going to most likely drag. And so I think that he should have maybe kept that part quiet as well, even if that's what he would do.
And threaten her at another moment, you don't make a threat. You don't threaten someone when you're trying to apologize or have a conversation about what had just happened the evening before. So that was kind of abrasive.
I was also feeling as though maybe, I know that I think Brent had commented that there was a time element that was a factor here. And so he just wanted to like get this information to Katie as soon as possible and like wanted to make that a deal before the killer made the kill list. And so I was suggesting that maybe taking a little bit more time with it becoming a plan that you guys, unfold together, being like, so Katie, like, I don't want to have any issues with you. Like, what if we like kind of figure something out, how we can work together, like how we don't put each other up. And if we don't put each other up, if we do put each other up, then it would be fair game for us to pull each other in a battle match or something, and just like make it more organic and not like something you've been thinking about overnight for the last like 12 hours. And like, okay, I need to talk to Katie, get her to agree to this plan, So just as we could see, like, it's a little bit of her idea and that she is like agreeing to something, not being told to do something in fear of being pulled into a battle match. Yeah. So time was a factor, we hear, but also I just wish that he was able to make it a little more appetizing.
Yeah. Like start with an appetizer and then move on to the main course and some dessert.
Exactly. I love like pizza, but I wouldn't want pizza shoved down my throat.
No.
No. I want to like little bites of the pizza.
You want a fork and knife?
I like forks and knives.
Some pineapple on your
I
pizza.
like pineapple on my pizza, not gonna lie.
Me too.
Polarizing comment of the podcast, but I'm a pineapple pizza girl.
Me too.
It's delicious. I don't know if it's because I'm Canadian and the guy that invented it, rest in peace. He's Canadian.
Oh, rest in peace.
I think it was last year.
Rest in pizza.
Oh,
Oh, it's bad.
rest in pineapple pizza.
Pineapple pizza.
Wait, how do you like your pineapple pizza? Like, how do you usually like it?
I like a Hawaiian pizza. So with like crumbled, what's the crumbled cheese that they put on it?
Cheese, beef, ground. Isn't it ground pork? Isn't it ground bacon bits?
I think I prefer the bacon strips with the ground ham, maybe. But for some reason I was picturing like crumbled cheese. Like I don't have like what kind of crumbled cheese would I have on that pineapple pizza? I'm not doing feta. No, I'm not going to do blue cheese on the pineapple. I think maybe I'm just picturing things. I'm seeing things now.
Who is this guy? No idea.
No idea.
I like a good pineapple hot sauce, hot peppers.
Oh,
you can't have anything hot. Never
Terrified.
Never mind. So the marriage of necessity drops. Obviously, Katie kind of has to agree to it to a certain extent, but I doubt she'll honor it, and she'll have to swallow that pillow if she has to, or whatever the saying is. But while discussing this plan with Katie, people were coming into the room. So firstly being Moon and then Brendan, and just slamming the door in these people coming in like, no, just give me a second. No, just give me a second. And I think that also might have been a little bit too much for the people on the receiving end of the door slam. Brendan didn't seem to take that very well. I don't remember what Muna said. Do you remember if Muna said anything?
I think Muna was pretty chill about it. I mean, she let people know. She let Rachel know about what had happened with the door, but I kind of liked that Brendan made a bigger deal out of it than it was really warranted. Like there were other people around, so he could freely say like, holy fuck, like that was so fucking rude or whatever it was, to build some sort of group mentality over a door slam. I don't think it's the end of the world that he was slamming. I don't think he hurt anyone or he wanted a minute. Respect people's times, whatever. But I also like that people took that and played with it.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying, like, this is giving even more reason for people to maybe paint Brent as a target moving forward. Just that's the little dial turned down. That's all I'm saying. Just saying, So they're going on like some fake LOS searches that Billy is in on these things. Billy definitely was the star of this episode for me.
1,000%.
All of her confessionals were good. I mentioned in the past. Have you played any of these social strategy games like Secret? H, I don't want to say the actual word.
I haven't, no. I know of it, but I've never played any. I actually used to play this werewolves app, and it had like these little emojis. And it was like an online like.
Have you played Among Us yet?
No.
I'm just trying to try different games where somebody is the killer or the bad person, or has to lie about who they are and kind of like sneak in the shadows with the people that they're playing with. And so anyways, I played a few of these games, and I'm terrible at being the killer because I can't hide my smile, or like I can't like I'm not the killer. Good.
With blood dripping all over you. You're like, it's not me. I
would have done a terrible job being Billy. How would you have done?
I think I would have I would like to think that I would have fucking killed it like Billy did.
I don't think I could have.
I think you could. I don't.
Oh my god! Like, who was it?
Who's the killer?
I don't know who the killer is.
I'd be focusing on trying to be the final girl, though. I'd be like, I just want to survive this. I want to make it to the sequel.
Yeah,
But I think that's what's really great about Billy is that she's also incredibly charming and personable, and doesn't necessarily like she's using strategy, but in a social way. It's having fun and like disarming people. I doubt any single person thought that Billy was the killer.
No, I don't think so at all. No, well, I mean, at least they didn't show it in the episode. Any confessionals or whatnot of people thinking that she was the killer. Rachel tells her alliance, so Shireen and Muna, that she's the detective.
But Billy's also part of that alliance.
I know. She does know eventually that Rachel is the detective, or that Rachel does tell Billy in a group later on that she's the detective. And
oh,
that's probably why I would want to tell people right in the beginning, because me lying would be a lot worse. Joseph says Blood versus Water 2 with her brother Josh and an all-star.
Oh, that's I think that's what Billy's played.
Oh. Oh, sorry. Yes, Joseph. Sorry, I missed your first comment. Billy's doing a great job making connections for not being that known as a Sequester mini committee. She's only played in 2.
Right. I remember Billy from both times she played.
Wait, so Josh is her brother? I remember you were saying that. I thought you were just joking. So Josh, like class of 2020, Josh?
Yeah, Josh Williams. Shout out to Josh. He's amazing. Yeah.
And an all-star. I don't remember the all-star. I don't remember seeing her play, unfortunately.
I'll find you a copy.
It's okay. I can find it too. All good. All good.
Good.
Obviously, Brent is pissing off Rachel. We could already see that from the beginning. And definitely Brent wanting to know. I think his urgency for having the detective reveal themselves is because he feels like he could be on a lot of people's hit list. And so he's not the first 2. So maybe it will save him from being the 3rd person revealed and on the chopping block. And he's a very tasty kill, for a lot of these people. So I see his urgency for wanting the detective to expose the killer,
Yep.
So they can work together. So Spencer and Jacob are kind of making a little bit of connection, and I thought it was really funny while they show Jacob and his 1,000,001 alliances. It kind of reminds me, I said this before, but of Muna with all of her Oprah alliances, like you get an alliance and you get an alliance. So both Jacob and Muna are having final 2s with lots of people, and people seem to just eat it up. They just love it seems.
Yeah, I think as a viewer, like I root for Muna, I root for Jacob. I want to see them do well, but I also loved the fact that Jacob was up for elimination. I thought it was exciting. It was a nice surprise. No one expected it. He'd literally just finished talking about how he felt really safe and comfortable, and then his butt was on the line. Not that I really think it was on the line.
So before that, though, so Rachel makes her first guess, and that is Katie. So Katie, I think that was a pretty amateur guess. I feel like as though the obvious wasn't the way to go here. I would give more credit to the players that she's playing with, and like being like, okay, if I think it's Katie, it must not be Katie, because there's no way that the killer would make it that easy for them to get caught or found out or figured out who their hit list is going to be. And so I thought it was a bit premature for her to guess Katie as the first guess. I would have probably gone someone completely random, because I don't think that the list necessarily is indicative of who put them up there. You know what I mean? I was doing my biggest, like the most that I could, so nobody would have any idea who it was that put people up,
I wasn't sure if she chose Katie strategically so that Katie might be put on the kill list next. So it was one less person, excuse me, around that wasn't contributing to finding the killer or who the detective was, whatever. I doubt that the detective was aware that the 3 kills were done at the beginning of the game. It could have been, I would have assumed as the detective that the killer was choosing each round who they would want. So I thought her picking Katie was more so like, hey, I hope whoever the killer is kills Katie, because I brought her up first and it's not her, clearly.
Yeah, I really don't think that she was thinking that deep into her guesses.
Just a shot in the dark.
I feel, you're for her for rationale? Okay,
yeah, maybe.
I don't think so at all. I don't think that was like, hey, I'm calling out the people that I want to be the killer. So if you're going to switch things up, put this person on. Like, I don't think she was being that savvy about her gameplay here. I think that she was just like, I don't know. Let's see if it's Katie.
1 out of 10 chance, 11.
Yep. Less.
The math. 13.
9.
2.
10.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we start with 13.
13.
And there's a killer. So yeah, 9.
9.
Actually, no, not 9. That's that point. But 11 at that point because, or whatever. 11, something like that. I don't even know what we're talking about that. So then obviously Natalie and Spencer get revealed as the first 2 people on the kill list here. And yeah, I still think that it was silly for her to guess Katie, but whatever. It wasn't Katie. At least this exonerates Katie here, because I obviously want her to do better. I don't want Katie to have been the killer, been exposed, and then be up for elimination with the 2 people on the list. So that wouldn't have been ideal for me at all. So Brent is starting to ask, who is the killer? Who is the killer? And I wrote down, Brent needs to chill, LOL.
Just sit down.
Yes, who is a detective? Sorry, I said killer, I meant detective. Who is a detective? So now the killer can change their target for the 3rd person. So I'm wondering if Brent being so vocal there was good for him to be kind of off the killer's radar, because it might have been like, I don't know. I'm not sure if that helped him at all.
I think it did help him because he was taken off the list. The list was changed.
But do you think it was because of?
I think that might have been a part of it.
Okay, good.
So I would hope anyway that what he did somehow saved his butt that elimination or that round. I don't know. I thought it was, going back to putting Jacob, Muna, and Katie up as the 3 would have been really like shooting at the big gun, like taking those big guns out right away. It might have put Rachel in danger as a detective, but I don't know. I think that would have been really exciting. I don't think it was it turned out to be a really exciting matchup for the 4 nominees, but having 3 big guns up there would have been ideal for a lot of people's games, I think.
I mean, I think though, I still think that the detective would have gone out. I think that they would have gotten the numbers, and I think that it would just make them play a little more aggressively and take no prisoners. Like they would be like, okay, this is what you're doing. Like, I don't know. I mean, it would make me more interesting gameplay wise, but I think that it would make a lot more people in a vulnerable position, I think, if they had done that.
Would that be a good thing for the killer though, to like really start just blow up the house?
Well, I mean, if that's the case though, and then they find out who the killer is, like I think that would be bad.
Yeah. It all depends on getting found out or not, I guess, as a killer.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is at least blood on her hands if she does get found out, or if she decides to expose herself here. But it would be bad for Jacob in finding that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Jacob, this is where he makes the circle of trust. He's with Shirin, Jacob, Marcelo, and Shireen. And he asks flat out, are any of you the detective? And they say no. Oh, sorry. And Rachel, I think, was there. I put Shireen twice. Yeah. Oopsie. They all say no. Shireen thinks that the killer might be, who's the next person? She said the next person was.
She thought it was Jacob, but I don't think she said that to Jacob out loud.
Shireen thought it was Jacob?
Yeah. She told Rachel, and I believe that's why Rachel chose Jacob as the killer.
Dana says Billy can honestly probably win this season if she doesn't make an enemy. They get eliminated and choose her to be in a battle match. I know. So I thought that she was a little bit, she might have wanted to smooth things over a little bit better with Natalie for that exact reason. But I do think she's in a pretty good position where nobody's super threatened by her, but everybody likes her around. I don't think anybody will pull her into a battle back because she's quite charming.
I think she almost got pulled in this week.
But
it unraveled. I really felt like the last 10 minutes unraveled for her.
She couldn't have been nominated anyway, so she couldn't have been pulled in. For her,
oh, the killer could not.
Like surviving that whole thing, she wasn't able to be pulled into a battle match. So,
but I guess her killer would have been exposed.
It would have been exposed, but she wouldn't have been able to go in. So, right. James says, but the people who are chosen must leave. So what do we mean by that? What do you mean by that, James? Sorry, if you can just clarify. I know we were just talking, so I might not be on the same train of thought as you right now. Joseph says, Jacob frickin' Jones shows that he's an icon, even in a twist where throne votes are being used.
No one threw a vote on Jacob, and that shocked me.
Shocking.
Yeah.
James says that where Billy's allies are going to be picked off around her, and she's going to end up in the final 6 or 7 with Jacob, Muna, and Marcelo. I could see that happening. And I can see, though, her kind of stepping back. And if she's going to be like the 7th, or like if there's going to be 2 sides, a 3-3 or a 2-2-2, and she could be like the 3rd somewhere, I think that she's going to be able to be a floater and kind of be able to be the split vote or the swing vote many times. I don't think that she's going to be part of the bloodbath. I think that she's going to be able to just kind of
have a little splash here and there.
Yeah, a little splash on the face, but I don't think she's going to get stabbed.
Out damn spot.
Exactly. Out damn spot. Out. Josh wants Shireen to be his number 1, which, I mean, make those alliances. You don't have to really honor them. And Shireen seems very receptive. Every time she is sitting down with someone and they're kind of doing these heart-to-hearts, I always feel like her confessional is going to be like, yeah, right, I'm with them. And she's always like, yeah, I really like this person or whatever. And I keep on getting duped thinking that she wasn't going to be into either their approach or whatnot. And so that's been surprising me. How have you been feeling about her confessionals and who she's been wanting to work with?
I'm really impressed by her so far. I'm looking forward to seeing like an attack on her to like really get some claws out. I think she's playing it really smart, don't get me wrong, but I'm looking forward to a little bit more theatrics and drama. I feel like it's been kind of isolated with certain people, but even at the end of episode 2, like who could have, I know I keep getting to the end of this episode already, but there's just some surprising things that can happen, and that's what I look forward to every week.
For sure. So James is clarifying. So the people on the killer's list must leave so they don't get to find out who is the killer is after they are nominated. Yeah. So basically what James is reminding us is that after people are being on the kill list, they kind of are out of the game, if I'm not mistaken. They get sent to exile, correct?
Once they're nominated and killed, yeah.
Once they are exposed, or I guess, which is killed, I guess. And so... But if they would be able to find out eventually that Jacob or that Billy is the killer, like as soon as they evade the battle match. So
once the discussion about votes came up, if Billy had been found out as a killer, I think that wouldn't have been good for her game. Mm-hmm. But that's when she could have flipped it and been like, okay, Natalie, like, I put you up for this reason. Okay, Jacob, I did this for this reason. Let's focus on Spencer, or trying to get it off her. I didn't really feel like Rachel was in any danger until I started thinking about the throne votes.
And the fact that she doesn't really have any connections with anybody.
Her and Muna are pretty close. Like Muna considers her a strong ally, and I do think Shireen also considers Rachel a strong ally. So I do think there are people that have her back.
But I do feel as though the way that she played this round would make me not want to play with her. You know what I mean? Like maybe Muna still and Shireen, because she was honest with her the whole time. Yeah. But I think that she didn't do herself any favors with currying any favors with anybody else in the house. I think it made her become, in my opinion, a target or somebody that I can't work with. Like it was very clear that she wasn't working with a lot of people to try to figure out who the killer actually was. Yeah. And so it makes her, in my opinion, expendable to many people. Be like, well, we even had, who was it? Spencer kind of threatening people with like, well, I'm going to be pulling in the person that I think that I can beat in a physical battle match into that. And it kind of alluding that Rachel and Shireen would be two people that he would pull into the battle match because he could think he can beat them in a physical competition.
Yeah.
So I just feel like as though she didn't make herself make more friends in this position. She had some power here. And I think she could have made some friendships, made some alliances, made some things that stuck instead of just the people that she already had her back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I found the round in general really muddied. Round one was all about talking about what happened the night before. I felt like it was people weren't necessarily playing the round as it was happening. They were focusing on what happened the day before or what had happened in the past.
There wasn't revealing any information, so they didn't have anything to go on. You know what I mean? Like they're like.
But I think that was a perfect time for her to say to Jacob and Marcelo and Shireen, like, I'm the detective, the four of us, like, let's work this out. If one of you's the killer, I get it. I'll happily go up on the block. If I'm like, I think she was feeling good, even after the third round about going on the block. So working with the killer could have clearly helped, even if it wasn't one of those people in the room.
I just thought it was a missed opportunity for how I would want to play the game and for who I would want to play the game with. She's on my team, so I want her to do well. But I wish that she had just used this to gain more clout in the game, gain more power. She was in a powerful position where she could talk to everybody freely. And she was saying that she didn't want to have people lie to her and muddy her thought process. But I think that she would get so much more information and then she can kind of filter out more things. Whether it was the same outcome or not, she would have talked to everybody a lot more.
Yeah.
Which I think is important, having a reason to talk to people and talk about game.
Yeah, especially after the second round and Brent like calling out the detective and saying that not exposing yourself is not a good thing.
And then she finally does say that she's a detective. And it was just kind of like, oh, late.
God.
It's like, wah, wah.
So it was me.
But Billy and her acting skills, though, was hilarious. Like, I was just I was so just like, Billy for the Oscar. Give it to Billy.
She's going to become a GOAT. Greatest of all time.
Yes. Absolutely. So Katie thinks it's either Brendan or Muna. I don't remember that as the killer, but.
Well, that's when she was doing her cute little dance. She was like celebrating with Marcelo.
Yes. She can't vote out. And so she was also saying that she can't vote out Spencer because that seems what the consensus is right now. If the killer is exposed, whatever, they want to vote out Spencer over Natalie. Yeah. What would you have done? Do you think would you prefer Spencer or Natalie to go?
I would have voted out Spencer.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So Brent also pulls Shireen away from Billy to talk. And Billy kind of gives like a little eye roll kind of moment to the camera. Yeah.
But I think she even said something. She was like, well, I haven't spoken to you either, or I'm talking to her too. There's a little bit of sass, and I like that.
There's a little bit of sass, especially because she is the killer. And it's just like, oh, you don't even care to talk to me. And
you were on my list.
You were nearly up there. You should be nicer to me. Right.
Yeah.
And so he pulls her away and she kind of like has this kind of like close one-on-one talk with Shireen. Where's that conversation though? I don't even know where it is. But after that, Rachel guesses Marcelo as the killer. Why did you do that? Too soon. I didn't think it was Marcelo. Did you think it could have been Marcelo?
No, I knew it was Billy anyway because of we knew. There was a part of me though that had like this a little bit of anxiety, thinking like, is Rachel just gonna be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna like guess a random person. I'm standing up here and she makes eye contact with Billy and says, okay, Billy's the killer. Couldn't possibly. And then yes, she was. That's what I thought was happening. I'm like, what's the most dramatic thing that could happen right now?
If I did my lines, I'd be like, who's the least likely to have put up these nominees?
Yeah.
That's really how I would be going about it.
Yeah, I mean, but Billy's, like, people are trusting her and they should.
Yuppers. Which I love. I love that she's getting away with it so well because I would probably be terrible at it. So Billy obviously is not going to tell anybody that she's the killer. So now, why do you think that Rachel calls out Josh and Brent?
That for me was a very Jay West moment. I'm like, what? Why do you were literally one of 4 people that can be going home right now, and by going home I mean going to the battle match. Like, take a step back, Rachel. I thought that was a little I don't want to say, I don't want to use the word dangerous, but it was very unnecessary.
Yeah, it wasn't well thought out.
Yeah.
So Joseph says, yeah, Spencer should have went. Natalie felt like an easy, lazy vote, as we found out with the voting chart at the end of the episode. Jacob freaking Jones is an icon and got no votes. Hi, Orla. Nice to meet you. Thanks for chilling with us. Is the killer allowed to expose her identity to another player? Not so much in Billy's case, but in different scenarios. I'm curious if there's an advantage to that. I believe they
yeah, I think they could.
But like they definitely wouldn't want to because they don't want to be exposed by the detective, because then they would be put up for nomination with their kill list.
Yeah.
So that could be problematic for them if they are exposed to the killer, because then people would probably want to vote out the killer, depending on the people that they nominate. So no. So Jacob is targeting Spencer here. But everyone around Spencer is saying Natalie. I would probably be voting for Spencer hard. Yeah,
I take the shot right away. I thought what he said to Muna was the truth, and it made sense to me that he was like, why am I even campaigning to you? Like, I'm not getting a shot out of you. That's all valid. And I love that Muna was like, damn, like that was good, because it did make her feel bad.
Yeah.
And sometimes that gets people's gears moving if they feel guilty about something, or they're corrected and think like, yeah, you're right, I have not given you a fair shake, but at the end of the day, I 1,000% would have voted out Spencer. Yeah, sorry.
And I'm wondering though, because like I'm very loyal in when I play, but obviously sometimes being too loyal to the wrong people is the downfall. So do you think that Katie saying that she's not going to vote out Spencer, do you think that was her being loyal to a fault and feeling guilty about how it went down in her previous game with him?
No, I think when it comes down to it, Katie was pretty honest about how her vote was going. I'm not sure if she necessarily said to Natalie, like, I am voting for you, but by saying like, I can't vote for Spencer, throwing a vote on Jacob would have been ideal in my opinion. Rachel ended up getting quite a few like thrown on votes. So not that I was surprised the way that it went down, but for someone like Katie, like, I don't know, I think she should have, I think her vote was valid and totally fair.
Well, so Katie could be throwing her vote, is what she tells Natalie. Billy also said that she's going to be throwing her vote. And Billy kind of says to her that you need to, start playing a little bit harder to Natalie, which I think is actually quite offensive. I just played in a closed ID org where people keep on telling me how I should play this game. I was kind of in an underdog position and nobody was really talking to me. I was completely shut out of, any game talk with many people in this scenario. And they're saying like, well, you should have done more to try and talk to us. And it's kind of like, well, when it's been decided that the door is closed by multiple people, you can't say like, your social strategy game should be a little bit better when the door is closed.
Yeah, you should use the kitty door.
Right?
Just crawl on in there, even if it's locked or boarded up.
Well, also not to give any ways for her to be able to do that. Be like, listen, like, you know, I think that you're strategically, you're not connecting with a lot of people. Maybe you go and have conversations with XYZ person instead of, and try to build a bond with them, and so that they don't want to vote you out. You know what I mean?
Like, that's actual advice. That's giving like specifics and being like, okay, this is what I know, and this is how I want to help you because I do want you here. I would love to work with you. This is what I can give you. I do think it was in the moment, and maybe Billy should bite her tongue a little bit, but it did bother Natalie that much. And I felt for Natalie during these confessionals. I was watching it like, oh God, like.
I know, well, and I knew how she was feeling because it was happening to me at the exact same time when people would be like, play your game better. And it's like, well, you're not playing with me.
Yeah, I'm literally in a corner by myself. Cool.
And like anything I say, you say like I'm not doing it right. So I feel for Natalie in this situation. And it was the first time, it gave me a bigger perspective being in that position because I've never really been in that position before ever. Yeah. And so now I see like, oh, like when people aren't part of like the main alliance and they're shut out, it's not really, you can't really tell them to play a better social game because they're locked out. Yeah. Like they're not part of the game anymore.
It's been decided.
It's been decided, and there's no way for them to penetrate anything unless they get a power of some sort to blow things up.
Yeah.
So, you know, I felt for her for sure. What's happened next here? So Spencer and Muna. Spencer is still annoyed with Muna that she put him in exile, which I think is kind of like, who else was she going to put in?
I think her reasoning was completely valid.
Which was
they really haven't spoken much.
Yeah. I mean, I know that it was like she was helping out Brent in that situation too, but yeah, I remember when she was saying that. It was definitely, I was like, yeah, that's a good enough reason. That's good enough. Like, you should buy that. Come on. Yes. So Spencer confronts Rachel and Shireen and Marcelo. And he's talking about how he's pulling someone in, but that he's going to compete in a physical competition. And so they're obviously, Shireen and Rachel are offended here about kind of like being threatened by them not maybe seeming to be as physically competitive as others, and that's how he's like already campaigning for his votes.
Yeah,
it was the right move for people that get irritated by that.
Well, it wasn't the right move because those two players ended up voting for him still. Mm-hmm. I think he really lucked out this episode with throne votes. I think yeah. So yeah, he definitely got lucky.
What do you think about Muna not being able to vote for Natalie because she's from Minnesota?
I mean, what an excuse that is. But she's like grasping at straws. It's something. Sure, that's a reason.
Just said it's like, I'll find a reason to not be able to vote anybody else, and I can't find one for you.
Yeah, so Minnesota and don't want to do it.
So, okay, it gets right down to the vote elimination. And you see Jay West sitting there with like that black Sequester mask. Like, I want to own one of those. They're so chic.
Let's see if they're selling some merch.
I mean, I would love that. Like, imagine like doing that like black tie. Like if you're going to like some sort of like event and it was like, because it's just so like shellac black.
Yeah.
And like just like with your lips and your eyes done.
Maybe with like some purple hair.
Sure.
Really make it pop.
With like some sort of ball gown. Anyways, I just thought that like it looked very chic. Loved it, and it looked great on camera. Even though it was dark outside, I was like, it still really picked up it just looked good.
Yep.
I liked it.
The aesthetics this season in general are like visually beautiful on the eyes. Yes. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching it going, okay, yeah, all right. This isn't just no like shaky cam, like cameraman's just picking it up because shit's going on.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like the production. I want to know what camera Audrey is using this season because as you know, I also host a weekend version of Big Brother. And so we just use our iPhones with like steady cams and like tripods. Yeah. But there's something about the quality of those videos that like just looks like, ooh, like kiss. Delicious. So this, yeah, we're right here to it. Natalie ends up being the one that was eliminated. I was actually surprised by this. I thought that Spencer was going to be the one that was eliminated, especially with how he was campaigning. I did not think that he was gaining any friends. I think it was pretty messy for people to be throwing so many votes that they didn't get their actual target out. I don't know if it's because they were scared that if Spencer did reveal them as one of the 3 votes, they didn't want to be considered weak in his eyes and be pulled into a battle match against him. So maybe that is why. I just don't know why they did it on Natalie and not like spread it out a little bit more, or if they're throwing their votes. Like, I just don't know why they didn't have more control over the vote, even if they're throwing it. I would be like, oh, you're throwing your vote? Who are you throwing it on? I'm throwing it on Natalie. Okay, can you throw it on Rachel, just so we can spread out Spencer will still go, but we will spread out our throw votes, you know?
Yeah, I think the vote ended up being 5-4-3. So it could have been 4-4-4. It could have been 4-4. My math, I can't do math right now. I'm not going to bother. But there was definitely scenarios.
Was 5 on the other one, and then it could be 4-4. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, and 0 clearly.
Yeah, or is that right?
5-4-3-0.
Correct. So they could have done many different combinations. They just need to have around 5 on Spencer, and then they could the other 7 votes could have been dispersed between the other 3 people.
Yeah.
So I would have personally planned that better if I wanted to have Spencer be the one that was leaving. But they didn't. It seems like that was just lazy on their part that they messed up that vote.
Yeah, or assumptions were being made that some people were going to vote Spencer still. Yeah. I mean, you don't have only 3 votes are revealed, so people can really kind of keep it to themselves. But I do think that Billy's vote being exposed did not help her in this situation.
For voting out Natalie?
Yeah, I think Natalie really wanted to see someone not be voting for her. You know what I mean? Like, she wanted someone to step forward, that she said her name, to feel better.
That Billy threw her vote, and she threw it on Natalie, and Natalie wanted to see her vote. But I think that Billy also knew that she has the protection of being the killer exposed that round, and that it didn't matter. So maybe Billy preferred to have Natalie leave the game.
Yeah, maybe.
So Natalie calls out Katie, Billy, and Marcelo. So Marcelo actually voted for Spencer. Billy threw her vote onto Natalie, and Katie onto Natalie. And Natalie decides to pull Katie into the battle match, but Katie does not die easily.
No.
She did for the last round. She definitely was defending herself in that moment, not wanting to just be like, okay, I'm just going to go into the battle match against you. Like, she definitely was putting up a fight as for reasons for other people to be going in instead of her, which I liked. Yes. I liked the fight. But it didn't matter. Natalie was going in with Katie. Yeah. They were going to be battling each other. Do you think that was the best decision for now? I mean, with the outcome, we know that it was. But do you think that moment it was?
I don't know. I think giving Katie a second opportunity to save her butt would have been really impressive for Katie's resume in general. So I think sticking to Katie was a fine decision. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm not sure if she did it strategically or why she chose Katie. It could have just been the fact that they weren't close, or she did feel like she was pushing for her a little harder to go. I just thought Katie's reasoning was valid. So I didn't think like, okay, then I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking maybe like body size, there might be similar, maybe body weight. And so it's something where they had to, they don't really do any wrestling type things, but where size did matter, like at least they'd be evenly matched up there.
Yeah, some sort of endurance maybe, or I think they hey, if I was making teams, I'd want Natalie and Katie on both of my team. Mm-hmm. So
yes, for sure. So they have to play shoot. Basically, there's 3 different tiers. They have to shoot. I thought it was a puck, but Taryn said it was a ping pong ball.
Yeah,
I think like an empty puck, but was saying that the pink, it was like a moving an LOS on the table. That was the puck. So I'm not sure, but shoot your shot was what it was. You had to get your thrown device, whatever it is, thrown object into the bottom tier. Once you get landed there, you move up to the second tier and then the top tier. Once you sink those, then you're moving basically your other puck or LOS down the tile. And once you get to the end, you win. How do you think of this for battle back competitions, and how do you think you would have?
Great competition. I love beer pong. I would expect both of these girls to be good at it. I was surprised that it wasn't that close. I expected like one ball each for both of them left. What was I gonna say? I had something for this. I don't remember. Let me think. How I would have done. Depending on the day, I think it depends on the wind. It depends on how nervous you are, or if you're in the zone. I would hope that I would kick some butt.
I mean, I feel as though I'm not I'm fine at throwing and aiming, but if it's light, I don't seem to be able to figure out how to have the right, thrust to get it in.
There would have been a lot of Alyssa like
CJ. Are you CJ from Cheesecake? If so, hello. If not, welcome. So does the jury watch the game as it's unfolding? So I do not believe so. It seems as though they are separated and then they're coming for the elimination, and they probably maybe go back after that. I think they're just there for that little bit, and then whoever loses, they go back together to the jury house or whatever it is.
Yeah. I'm assuming like episode 3 we'll find out a little bit more about the jury house. I know that in previous seasons of Sequester that has been featured, like what's happening in that house. So I fully expect a Jay West Katie meeting that evening. But I'm really happy. Like I don't know. Like I'm sad Katie left, but I'm happy that she's still going to be on my screen most likely next week.
And spoiler alert, so Katie
yes.
does not win the battle match. Natalie is able to sink her 3 balls into the top one. I think it's for the lightness. So the lightness of whatever they were throwing might have been challenging for them to be able to aim very well. And Natalie was just better at it than Katie was. Katie was able to get the first tier, but was unable to make contact with the second and third tier. So Natalie cinches the win. Yeah. Katie, I was like, poor Katie, I really wanted to see her stay. So Katie just yells that they're going to have to find somebody new to target, which is really true. We like when things open up that way, where it's like, oh, the easy target is gone. Now the easy target's gone. Who becomes the target? That will be interesting, especially since we now know that both Natalie and Josh have some sort of advantage. Well, we know the LOS. We don't know what Natalie is going to get. So that is going to make them a little bit less desirable to be pulled in, or even if they are, they can't do it. So that is great. So as you were saying before, the distribution of votes. So Natalie, the people that voted for Natalie was Brent, Spencer, Billy, Jacob, and Katie. Who voted for Spencer was Shireen, Muna, Rachel, and Marcelo. And for Rachel, Josh, Natalie, and Spencer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if they wanted Spencer to do it, she needed to have gotten somebody else to vote for Spencer. But I don't think Brent would have. Obviously,
I mean,
would not have.
If Natalie voted for Spencer.
If Natalie voted for Spencer. Oh, yeah. Duh. She voted for Rachel. So did she? Like, why didn't she vote for Spencer if that was the way people were going?
I'm assuming other people thought that she was going to be voting for Spencer. If she's being told to vote for Spencer to save her own butt.
I mean, maybe he was scared. She was scared that Spencer would have seen her vote and then maybe called her into a battle match.
But that's a you or me situation.
Yeah.
Katie was able to save herself the week before. I mean, Jay West opening his mouth not being humble kind of put him in that scenario. But yeah.
So, I agree with you though that we're probably going to see Katie and Jay West in the jury house. See how that unfolds, which might be interesting. I'm wondering, since they're changing things up a little bit, if there's going to be a jury house kind of game that's being played that the current players are unaware of. That could be really interesting. If it's more than just like one big challenge for them to get back into the game, like if there's multiple things that are happening simultaneously. So I am interested this week, and it's only going to be 2 days away because we're so late on this video that we get to find out what's happening next. Yeah. So we've discussed it, and we feel that Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern is when we are going to be coming live to talk about Sequester. So we do not have to wait the entire week and forget what happens and not have like the energy in our brain to talk about this episode effectively and with the excitement that it deserves. So we will be doing on a regular basis 2 p.m. on Mondays for the rest of the season to discuss this cast, this season, the twist, everything about Sequester season 4. Yes. Hopefully you are able to come and join us, especially everybody that hung out with us today. So CJ, Orla, Joseph, James, all big thanks to you. Dana, Frank, and I think that was everybody. If I missed you, I didn't mean to. We love chatting with you guys, especially about competition reality shows. We find it fun. We like, conspiracy theorizing, especially since a lot of these people are friends or once removed from a friend. And so we love talking about these people. No disrespect. We're just looking at your gameplay. We do not mean to offend anybody or hurt anybody's feelings. But just what we're seeing on the show is what we're commenting on. So we hope you enjoy that. We are so excited about watching you guys play that we have a lot to say. So it's all in good love. We've played many social strategy games ourselves, and so we know that people can critiquing what we're doing sometimes can feel like it hurts, but it's all in love because we love watching you play and what you're doing, and you're doing something to give us something to talk about. So that's more than a lot of people can say. So
gotcha.
No, it's all in good love. We love watching the show and this game, so I'm so excited. Do you have anything going on, Jojo, that you want to tell the people about?
Oh God, no. Nothing. I'm in lockdown, just hanging out on my couch. I started the challenge last night for the first time.
Joseph, did you hear that? The challenge. Before it. I think it's a good season for him to maybe start watching, especially maybe following along with me and Fanta and Michelle. Definitely a lot of people have been enjoying our, commentary on the episode because we're all super duper duper fans. Yeah. And I think there's 3 women that are covering the challenge together only. So
damn.
So you know.
Yep.
But Joseph is being modest. Himself and me, or him and myself, are actually playing in an all-star version of Big Brother right now.
We are, yeah.
We basically met for reals on season 3 of this game, and now we're going back to season 5, which is All Stars. So we've made it past week 1 so far. And we have not been nominated for week 2, so we're doing okay so far. But if you want to see how well we do throughout the rest of the season, I will put the link in the description box below. There's daily videos that tell you the happenings of the house and what's going on competition wise. Sometimes the competitions are aired and like live streamed, and then weekly Nick and Lindsay, who are a friend of the podcast and also top 3 for the second and third finalist for season 4. They will be covering the weekly, wrap up, as well as the exit interview for each guest or each host guest. So if you want to join us in on the fun, please do. I'll put the link down below where you can watch these episodes. All right. And if you haven't done so already, why haven't you subscribed? Right down over there where Joseph is pointing. Please ring that bell so you'll be notified every time we go live, and like this video if you like what we're doing. We do it because we love it, but we also do it because you guys love it too. So please support in any way that you can by not knocking over my computer. Love you guys.
Bye.